Hello everyone and welcome to Ex Libris Gaming. In this episode I will be talking about a game that is currently in development and I participate in the playtesting of the game along with a great team of amazing gamers. The game has recently been added in the P500 list by GMT Games and it is designed by none other than Volko Rhunke. I think the designer is well known even to people who don't play war games. He's one of the best designers in the industry, enriching our hobby with his innovative designs like the famous coin series, Levin campaign, and many more. The game is called Coast Watchers and is set in World War II in the Pacific Theater. I think that by the title alone, one understands that it will not be a usual World War II game. The game focuses on a rather unknown, at least to me, aspect of the operation in the South Pacific area, namely the intelligence gathering by the Allies, more specifically the Australian Navy, on the Japanese movements and preparation for their campaigns. The Allies had deployed a network of observation stations manned by volunteers that provided key intelligence and also helped evacuate refugees, rescue downed aircraft, crewmen, etc. These brave individuals often operated behind enemy lines and were in constant risk of being discovered and captured. You can read more about the Coast Watchers and their history in the game's P500 page at GMT Games. I will have provided the necessary links in the description of the video. And also while there, why not pre-order the game as well and help it make the cut, as we'll say. It's already very close to it. Now, let's go over a brief overview of the game itself. I will show you some images from the Vassal module, which I use for the game. Also, it's in development. Please bear in mind that everything is still a work in progress and it's not final art or final gameplay or anything. Also, a big thank you to the amazing fellow gamers and testers that have developed the Vassal and TTS modules, and these modules make playtesting so much easier for the rest of us. The game itself is a hidden block, hidden information one, played over a number of turns depending on the scenario. Scenarios are called situations in this game. The allied player manages a network of stations manned by Coast Watchers and tries to observe Japanese build-ups of material and report them to the headquarters. Also, they can be involved in rescuing personnel and civilians or into some guerrilla operations. The Japanese player tries to get the necessary build-ups to support his operations, but also to flush out the Coast Watchers by deploying patrols at his sites and bases, or even capture them to prevent them from reporting on his build-ups and, more importantly, clearing the way for the operations he wants to launch. In order to achieve this, each side has a number of actions unique to them, so it's asymmetrical, and they also get assets which they use to perform or support their actions. Also, each side, depending on the situation, has a number of missions they're supposed to carry out. The game ends after a number of turns indicated by the situation, or when the Japanese player feels confident enough to launch the operations. Usually it will happen from turn 3 onwards. Now, victory points are awarded to the Japanese player for completing various missions, launching operations, and capturing Coast Watchers, and to the allied player for successfully reporting Japanese build-ups, rescuing crews, etc., and for having placed his Coast Watchers so that they can observe the paths of the operations launched by the Japanese. I don't want to go into very much detail about the game mechanics as they're still fine-tuned. One very important side of the game is the double blind concept. That is, the active player executes the actions secretly, so that the other doesn't know at which place an action happened, unless, of course, something goes wrong or an ability forces an action to be taken openly. The most crucial actions for both sides, for example, deploying ghost watchers, observing the Japanese, searching for ghost watchers, capturing them, supplying, rescuing, are governed by cheat pools. A successful cheat pool ensures both success of the action and secrecy, whereas a failed one can result in blown secrecy and or failure. This introduces the necessary element of randomness into the game, and there are two separate sets of cheats. One for the allied actions that don't normally involve interaction with the Japanese per se, for example, resupply, and another one for the actions of both sides that involve interaction with the other side, for example, to observe, build up, or search for ghost watchers. The players are able to affect the cheat pools by managing through their actions and assets how many cheats of each time get into the cup. Into its cup, there are two cups actually. In effect, they manage the probabilities of success or failure for each action, and they can accordingly risk or decide to play it safe. And this creates a very neat sense of tension in the game. Some other actions automatically succeed, but the order in which every action is taken is also important, as there are, of course, some restrictions. So, the mechanics of the game force the players both to plan carefully, but also to take some risk, and I think the game manages to balance these two aspects very nicely. The game lends itself fantastically to remote playing, since that way is very easy to maintain the necessary secrecy. You don't need poker phrase if you're playing remotely. And let me say again how grateful I am to the people developing and maintaining the modules for the computer platforms. I think both Vassal and TTS are supported, and the relevant modules will be published. By its nature, the game is of course limited to a maximum of 2 players, but there is also a solitaire system developed for both sides. I have played with the solo rules still under development, but I'm pretty confident to say that they're going to provide a very satisfying and challenging game for the solo players, keeping up with the traditions of the coin games, which I mainly play solo, and I totally enjoy them. Now, some final thoughts about the game. The concept of the game is very interesting, and there aren't many games about intelligence gathering in the field. In my opinion, it succeeds creating a tense game, each player trying to plan better than the other. The mechanics are very interesting while remaining simple at their core. The rules are easy to learn, but it requires some attention to detail to get the basic concepts of the game right. But I have to say that this is only to be expected because it's a new design introducing a new concepts in gaming. I'm confident this is going to be a great game and a chance to try a different kind of warfare. And this is all I have to say at the moment. If you want to learn more about the game, please visit the games page on GMT's P500 page. I've got the link in the description. There you will find game-related materials, including interviews of Volko himself. Also, if you find the game interesting, don't forget to pre-order it, helping getting it into production. I hope you enjoyed this video, and to see you soon in the next one.